We are a home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Hello, this is Johnny's Prime with me, Samuel Kojo Brace. Our lead stories. This is our first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Joseph Wusu, says this Parliament is becoming the worst in the country's history as the minority in Parliament forces another adjournment.
I'm saying it, that this equal number of Parliament brought the worst in MPs. And the 8th Parliament has made the least number of laws. We have not cooperated as we did in the past.
We have details as the new minority strategy stagnate keep business in the House. Now, and why is Parliament record capturing 201 MPs as present when there were less than 40 MPs on the floor?
Always people from the backbench who come to raise these issues, not the leaders. What it means is that indeed, at this time, in the Parliament of Ghana, leaders don't have control. The backbench have control.
Death, hanging homes, unbearable traffic, and bad roads. The fate of residents of New Botiano as the rains continue to pour trauma on them.
It's very, very dangerous. When the rain is falling, hard one or heavy one, and you come and stand here, even here, you listen. The flow, because there is very huge rain passes through here.
Now, first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Joseph Wusu, says the 8th Parliament is becoming the worst Parliament in Ghana's history as the minority forces another adjournment. The minority declared early this week that they are escalating their protest against the prosecution of Jachi Kwesen. The new strategy is to continuously raise matters of quorum, literally shutting the House down every time. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kwekwa Asante reports.
Whilst Parliament was considering bills, including the Ghana UNESCO bill, it became evident that the House lacked quorum to continue voting. The minority raised the matter, forcing an early adjournment. Speaking to Joy News, the Deputy Speaker explained that he thought the 8th Parliament, with its equal numbers, would be better, but is turning out to be the worst.
We have decided to do politics rather than business. I'm saying it, that this equal number of Parliament had brought the worst in MPs. I've repeated it, I will repeat it again. This Parliament, the 8th Parliament, has made the least number of laws. We have not cooperated as we did in the past.
The Deputy Speaker also says the leadership on both sides have lost control of the House to the backbenchers.
Today, young people are in control. They look at things differently from the rest of us. So it is good for them, even when their leaders agree to do it. Check out, it's always people from the backbench who come to raise these issues, not the leaders. What it means is that indeed, at this time, in the Parliament of Ghana, leaders don't have control. The backbench have control. So the number of backbench and the orientation of backbench you bring in will determine what you get.
The whole of this week, Parliament has only considered questions and statements, failing to deal with bills and other weighty matters. The minority strategy is now to raise quorum issues every time. The minority chief whip says cooperation will suffer if their colleagues are still persecuted.
We still remain committed to our statement that in light of this persecution, no cooperation from us.
Trades and Industry Minister K.T. Hammond is concerned that if this trend continues, no key business will be done in Parliament.
And they have explained to us as part of the leadership of the House. Because you take it to the logical conclusion, we can't do anything on the floor. We can't do any business. The standing orders are clear. Constitution pretty clear. Supreme Court did explain. We have a quorum for doing ordinary business of the House. We have a quorum for taking decisions.
Minority MP Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed said his side is only enforcing the Constitution and the standing orders of the House.
Business of the House is guided by two very important things. One, the Constitution. Two, the standing orders. Both the Constitution and the standing orders are very clear that before a decision is taken, you should have a specific number And if you are aware, the Supreme Court itself ruled when we had these same challenges in the matter of the approval of the budget.
Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, Parliament House, Accra.
Let's stay with parliamentary business because the majority in Parliament is accusing the NDC colleagues of seeking to cast Parliament in a bad light with their repeated raising of matters of quorum. Parliament was forced to adjourn yesterday as a result of a failure to have the required quorum to do business. Speaking on the floor of the House, NPP MP for Kankwe Central, Patrick Boama, said the minority were acting with mischief.
When you look at the definition for committees, and with the interpretation that the Right Honourable Speaker has put on the meaning of committees, it includes select committees and standing committees, which I've referred to. And his interpretation is that once you are within the presence of Parliament, you are deemed to be present within Parliament, undertaking a business that he has so directed. So for a member who belongs to a committee that was sitting, with its sitting being televised live, to rush into the chamber to raise an issue of quorum, for the whole country to think that this Parliament is not a serious house, smacks of mischief. Mr. Speaker, we are in this country together. We want to run the country as a civilized one. And we believe that members ought not to stray into other areas that will present or put the image of Parliament in such a bad state, Mr. Speaker. This ought to be looked into, Mr. Speaker. People come in, sign, and leave the chamber. They attend committee meetings. It's part of the work of Parliament. A wrong signal ought not to be sent out to the general public, Mr. Speaker.
Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakbo, who raised the issue of quorum yesterday, has been firing back, insisting there's no mischief at play.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday, the gravamen of my motion before the House that we were not properly constituted, we couldn't have come to a correct decision because of the fact that we lacked the correct number for commencement. And indeed, the record was that we were 35. I am therefore scandalized to hear from my brother that I raised these matters, these constitutional procedural matters, but on propriety as a result of mischief. The world is looking at us, my brother. And so I am happy if we want to gather to do business of Parliament and conduct affairs of state. But the Constitution provides that in doing so, the appropriate numbers of Parliament must be properly constituted before that can be done. We didn't match that lower threshold yesterday. The votes and proceedings that you are waiving, the green booklet, it's not votes and proceedings of members who were present at commencement. At commencement. You can, Mr. Speaker, let my brothers listen to these matters that border on the Constitution.
Well, yesterday there were less than 40 MPs on the floor. The House was forced to therefore adjourn because of that. Now, the record captures 201 MPs as present. The First Deputy Speaker, Joseph Osei-Wusu, says Parliament must explain to the public how that can be.
If we are working with just being present in the chamber, this report would not be accepted as a correct reflection of the vote and proceedings. Because at the time the proceedings was abated, in the chamber, there were less than 40 of us. How did it rise to? The time being, I take note that it is on record that yesterday 201 members were present. How that happened when Parliament truncated business because we didn't have a quorum to transact business is a matter which we may have to answer to the public.
Now, getting members of Parliament to attend parliamentary proceedings is becoming difficult in recent weeks. the minority decided to boycott Parliament to support Assin North MP, who is also facing prosecution. The majority has also been absent. Now, the minority accused majority members of abandoning their duties to campaign for a presidential aspirant. Member of Parliament for Yendi constituency and a member of Vice President Bawumia's campaign team, Farouk Aliyu Mahama, swore that it is not accurate that some MPP MPs are abandoning Parliament to campaign with the Vice President.
The MPs from Ashanti region were with Bawumia are back to Parliament. So it has nothing to do with MPs following Bawumia. For instance, I'm a strong supporter of the Vice President, but I've not followed the Vice President. I've still left the Vice President to go on his own campaign and still be committed to my work. So NDC's strategy of trying to tie everything to Bawumia is a signal that we always use, that is a signal that Bawumia is a threat to John Mahama.
Now, the Majority Chief Whip, Frank Anodompre, also touched on why majority members have not been attending Parliament.
But just for the records, my colleague, I never said your absence is hampering business. Speaker, I never said that. What I said was, it is inconsistent on your part to have said that you boycott Parliament, and yet you sneak out and go and participate in committee business. Because committee business is an extension of Parliament's work. That, for me, cannot be contested. Maybe we should have a day where we can debate this matter. But I'm saying to you, with all respect, I mean, I respect you. I wouldn't want us to go into any odd tangents on these matters. And the Speaker has given directives. We can have another day and deal with this, because I didn't even say this on the House floor. So let's leave it at this.
Well, today, some members of Parliament who have joined the campaign tour of Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia in the Ashanti region say their absence from Parliament will not affect the business of the House. This follows concerns of the minority in Parliament over the continuous absence of some members of the majority from the House. Responding to the concerns, the Member of Parliament for Efidiase, Nana Eyu Efriye, said absenteeism from Parliament for internal party elections has been conventional. He claimed the minority did the same during the NDC's internal elections.
Just as they also have permission, people have permissions anytime, and they go about their businesses in Parliament and out of Parliament. And at the end of the day, if you would also be absent, you have to be absent not more than 15 days. And so people understand the standing orders. And MPs who are going closer to 15 days will avail themselves. So in the political season, just like it was for their primaries and they weren't attending Parliament, but business was ongoing, so shall it be. It's been convention. I don't think you make a big deal out of this. It's been like that since '92 anyway. I'm not sure. And it's not only Ghana. Elsewhere, whenever there's going to be a political season, why do we have a vote on account in election year? Because people are not there to do business. The government would have to run regardless after elections. There must be a gap, but MPs are not there, so somebody must be running the country. So in political seasons like internal primaries and co, for democracy, definitely there's going to be a short change. And some of these challenges will be business of the day. But the leadership of Parliament always set agenda of what we are going to do in which meeting or which we come to Parliament. They normally factor the activities around, and by all means by August we would have done the bills and complete what we have to do, because they factored those in their planning. I don't think that any absence is going to really affect the business of the House.
Now, the MP for Otafo, Vincent Ekowasefua, whose constituency the Vice President visited to wrap up his campaign in the Ashanti region, says the minority should, quote, mind their business, unquote, and not interfere in the MPP's affairs.
I have been in Parliament. Today is Thursday, right? On Tuesday, I was in Parliament. Yesterday, I was in Parliament. In fact, Tuesday, if you were able to follow the proceedings, you remember, I was the one who, as it were, asked the question to Honorable Brian Achampong. And so if the Vice President, he is not just a candidate or an aspirant, he is the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, first and foremost. And if he decides to visit my constituency, I do not have any choice than to come and support him. So from here, I'm going back to Accra to go and continue my representative duty that the good people of Otafo constituency gave me. Infanti, they say something, Zufiatem. Indeed, today, if you go to the House, the minority members are not in the House. Article 97 of the 1992 Constitution is very clear. And the Standing Orders of Parliament, Order 16, is very clear about it. That if you want to absent yourself from Parliament, you need to seek for a reasonable excuse from the Speaker of Parliament. And I know that most of these minority MPs have been, as it were, absenting themselves from Parliament without any reasonable excuse. And if you don't have that, what it means is that after a continuous absence of 15 days, you are able to, or you may be allowed to vacate your seat. I have not done that. I was not in Parliament today. Tomorrow I'm going to be in Parliament. And see, as simple as that.
Well, let's dwell more on this. On Zoom now is Nehemiah Tega, the co-founder of Parliamentary Monitoring Organization, or DICRO. Nehemiah, grateful that you could join us here. Let's start from on this note. What do you make of happenings in Parliament? Is it becoming difficult to get parliamentarians? I mean, it is becoming difficult to get parliamentarians to do their own jobs, of which we pay them. Why is this challenge persistent now?
First of all, this parliament started in a manner where we didn't have a clear split, and so there was always a need to build consensus when it comes to the work of parliament. However, for the people who have to do the work to even make them avail themselves, that has become a challenge, because they would believe that staying out of parliament and just waiting till you are almost hitting the 15 sittings threshold, then you show up, and that's like a good thing to come on TV and say. Clearly, they are not serious. Clearly, they are not serious about representing the people. And if they, the lawmakers, are breaking the law by either gaming the system in terms of their attendance structure to either come and sign in and go away, or get someone from the table office to do so, it's appalling. It's not. It won't help a nation that needs laws and certain legislative work to develop it. We are just running off the mark in the interest of getting votes and becoming elected, and I think that's sad.
The first Deputy Speaker of Parliament says they have to explain to the public why a house that had less than 40 MPs, we're being told, had recorded over 200 MPs. How do they explain this to us? 40 now turns to 201.
Well, in the past, nobody was ensuring that they were doing this, and so they could actually go in there, and they might not form a quorum, but end up passing bills and things like that. Now, guess what? The media is watching. The public is watching. In certain instances, we've even taken pictures of the number of people in there, and then looked at the votes and proceedings that comes after in the next sitting, and you realize that people may have attempted to game that process. Also, because we started putting that information out there, and once they saw that their constituents were taking a look at this and taking it more seriously, and even using that to vote, they decided to change the way they do things. But these are folks who really do not care about their constituents and the work that is required of them. Think about it. You have a situation where a Speaker of Parliament refers a number of members to the Privileges Committee, and everyone knows that this is like more of a lip service or something that is just going to be done using kid gloves, and on the basis of that, nothing will happen to them. So even though about 30 MPs even were in contravention of Article 97 Clause 1C, just like those 3 MPs, everyone knew that nothing was going to happen. And if there's an institution that's supposed to bite, or there are rules or laws that are supposed to bite, and they can't bite, they can't be bothered. It's going to be business as usual. They are just going to make sure when they think that being somewhere else is more important, they'll go ahead and do it. When they think that being in Parliament but not being in a chamber and not even being at any committee meeting is not important, and they're going to do their personal things, they'll go ahead and do it because the laws are not enforced, whether the standing orders or the constitutional clauses. The lawmakers are breaking the laws instead of sitting in Parliament and doing government business or doing the work that is required of them.
You mentioned that 30 MPs were in contravention of that particular article. You remember those constituencies or those MPs?
Yes, I can give you the list.
Wow. So how come we didn't hear of their case, the 30 MPs?
Because the speaker did not take it up. Odikro even officially wrote to the speaker, and the speaker acknowledged receipt, and we thought that some action was going to be taken because we had other MPs like Joe Gate and Pukwaji Mamenu, even Kujokon Nkrumah, Ignatius Bafewa, all of these people, Esla, Owusu Ekufo, Kennedy Japan, all of these people. So the list went on all the way, and we actually wrote to the speaker saying that a total of 33 MPs were in violation of Article 97, Clause 1C, and nothing really happened.
Wow. Now, it looks like the MPs are normalizing this. If you listen to them, they tend to say, oh, this is conventional. We can leave parliamentary duty and attend to our internal elections. How do we deal with this matter such that it doesn't really fester to then even infest new ones that may be coming in the House?
In society, norms are overseen by laws. So whilst people who convene together may try to create their own norms, and these norms then become de facto standards, it might not necessarily adhere to the laws, because the laws will be in the interest of the public. And so when you have an opportunity to do things in a certain manner, because you are getting paid for it, because you are representing your people, and you rather share those responsibilities, then you have to become accountable to the people. And what will the people do? You may lose the opportunity to continue representing them because you are not doing that. Like you said, they've normalized it. They are saying that, oh, well, you two, when you went to do your primaries, you were not there. Does it make it right? Does it make, you can't even make references to other places and say this also happens in other jurisdictions. So if people bring certain things are allowable in other countries, we should also allow it when our laws says we should be doing something else.
Okay.
So this behavior is appalling and it's not acceptable. And this is why we also need to automate the attendance by using biometric attendance systems. Let's move away. Let's get them to tighten the processes.
Okay.
Whether through the standing orders or through technology, and get things done differently.
Okay.
Thank you.
Grateful to you. Nahama Atega is co-founder of Odikro. Now, a group of MPP supporters have stormed the Alisa Hotel, demanding that the party holds the Super Delegates Congress at a centralized venue. The action by the group is to mount pressure on the National Executive Committee and the National Council of Elders not to consider decentralizing the selection process as it finalizes the elections process today. According to them, doing so will compromise the elections. Yao Obing Boateng is one of the leaders of the aggrieved party supporters.
We are basically party members. Party members. Coming from where? Exactly? You know, from different constituencies. I am from Ododo. I think I've informed you. I am from Ododo. We have Ablikman West, Ablikman South, Okaikwe, Korle Krote. We are basically MPP people. We are. Where are you getting this information from? So that they want to decentralize the exercise? It's our message. That's all. So your reason here is what? We are not assigning this information to anybody. So our message is to stick to what we've been doing for the past year. And so we are not interested for them to decentralize anything. So you are here to send a message to NEC and the National Council that these are the grievances of supporters of the party. So if they don't do that, what are they going to do? Oh, we are contemplating. Me myself, I'm not interested in the special voting even. But should in case it should happen, we should do it the way we do.
Are these the only concerns you have?
Oh, we have various concerns.
What are they?
That we see we are a party and we must not do anything that can split the party. If I have my way, I will have asked. We should do away with the special voting. 200,000 people are going to decide. So why do you allow 6,000 people?
Baba, you can't bury your party's constitution. Your constitution is clear.
No, the NEC can do something about it.
But not now. That's your constitution. So the point I'm making is that your constitution states that where the aspirants are more than 5, you must conduct a super delegates congress. So they can't do anything about it for now.
We are aware, but what I'm saying is NEC can tamper with that and then call a meeting to suspend that for now.
You want them to suspend the delegates congress?
Yes, no, the
super delegates congress.
So that after this, our next congress, we can adopt.
Why?
No, I'm saying that should in case that one won't work. The decentralization of the special voting is not what we are not in favor for. We are not supporting that.
Well, let's take you live now to the Alisa Hotel, where my colleague Samuel Imbrai is standing by to give us an update on what's been happening there. Sammy, you've been there the whole day. The group came there in the afternoon. The committee has been meeting, and they're deep into the night now. What has been happening?
Brace, 4 hours into the meeting, still counting. It started around 3 thereabouts, where the National Executive Committee of the party first had their meeting. Afterwards, they came out, and then the National Council of the party members joined them. And so that is the moment we are now. So they are to deliberate over the issues that are coming up. One of the issues is what you played earlier about some of the party supporters raising concerns about the election process. I'm talking about the super delegates congress process. They want it to be centralized, not decentralized, because they are suspecting that some of even the executives at the regional level have been compromised. They are biased towards some candidates, so a reason they came here. So it has been a tight meeting. The media has not been allowed to enter inside because it is an in-camera one. Even the National Council members, as well as the National Executive Committee members, are not even allowed to go in with their mobile phones. So it is a closed-door meeting, a party affair, and whatever that is discussed there is not or has not been known to the media yet. Earlier, when the National Executive Committee members came out, I tried gathering some information, but I was told they wouldn't divulge any information to me now until the National Council decides. So we are still pitching camp within the premises of our Alisa Hotel, waiting for them. So once they are done with this meeting and the decision is arrived and the election modalities are being spelled out, the General Secretary, Justin Frimpong Kodia, will come and address the media on the way going forward. We know very well that tomorrow the party will officially announce the aspirants that are to go into this race, and subsequently Monday the balloting would begin for the Super Delegates Congress. So it has been a very hectic day here, but the meeting is still underway. Any member of the MPP who matters is in this particular crucial meeting. The president should have been part of the meeting, however, we know he is out of the country, a reason he is not here. 9 aspirants are here, with the exception of Alan Chemante. I'm told he's part of the northern Ghana to campaign, but he has a representative here. So aside him, the remaining aspirants are here, and I must say that the exercise has been smooth so far. Security is very tight because I must say the entire government machinery is here, because you have the whole chief of staff in this meeting, all the members of the MPP who are ministers, who are MPs, are all locked up in this particular meeting. So Brace, we don't know exactly when this meeting would end, but we are still nosing around to get the relevant information to feed our listeners. But we know that the key issues they are dealing with are the venue, or where they will hold the election, be it a centralized one or a decentralized one, and then 2, the voters register. So those that are deceased or those that have abandoned their positions, what happens after cleaning the register? should they go ahead with the register like that, or they should replace it. So these are some of the things that they are going to come out. The decisions will border on that, and also they'll give a guideline on the code of conduct of all the aspirants. Mind you, yesterday there was a National Council of Elders meeting with the national executives on how some of these aspirants are supposed to carry themselves in the course of the campaign. So it was basically a meeting to echo the need for them to be united ahead of the election. So, Brace, that's what I can report for now. Okay. Subsequently, if there are other information coming up, we'll surely link up to you in the studio to update you.
So that's my colleague Samuel Imbra, who is at the Alisa Hotel now, giving us up to speed on what's happening there. This is still Joy News Prime. Still to come, deaths, hanging homes, unbearable traffic, and bad roads. The fate of residents of New Botiano as rains continue to pour trauma on them.
It's very, very dangerous. When the rain is falling, hard one or heavy one, and you come and stand here, even here, you listen, the flow, because there's very huge rain passes through here.
Welcome back from the break. Now, flag bearer hopeful of the NPP, Alan Kwadwo Kyerematen, has been touring the OT region to share his vision with delegates on the need to endorse him to become the party's flag bearer for the 2024 general elections. Mr. Kyerematen says he is the only aspirant among the 10 with a national appeal to help the NPP break the 8. He met delegates from all 9 constituencies on a cluster basis. Peter Seno has been following his campaign in that region and has come through with this report.
Alan Kwadwo Kyerematen, one of the leading flag-bearer aspirants of the New Patriotic Party, was in the Oti region to meet delegates from all 9 constituencies to share his visions with them as to why they need to endorse his candidature to lead the party into the 2024 general elections. Sharing his view on why delegates should endorse his candidature, he says he's the only candidate with a national appeal that will attract floating voters to the party. He also said he will put all party executives on a payroll such that they can earn some income for their sacrifices.
Chairman, I'm the in the car. What's your I think what in the car? Ghana force no way in the edge. So Kamudi way by a dear and I give it to Abama. That's a local position. What do I say?
Some delegates have also been sharing their views on exactly why they are endorsing the candidature of Alan Kwadwo Kyerematen.
We are supporting Alan Kwadwo Kyerematen because you say your food your panel or no your piano.
Now, in the Ashanti region, chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Bernard Ntwibo Siako, says the region has acted, the vice president, as has selected the vice president as a formidable candidate to win the 2024 general elections for the NPP. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has been campaigning across all 47 constituencies of the region ahead of the NPP's presidential primary. He wrapped up his campaign in the region on Wednesday after meeting delegates who will be participating in the August 26th special delegate conference of the party. Nana Bwachi Yadom reports from Kumasi.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has been in the Ashanti region for the past 2 weeks to campaign ahead of the NPP's presidential primary, flanked by several high-profile figures of the party, including members of parliament, regional and constituency chairmen and constituency council of elders. The Vice President toured all 47 constituencies in the region and wrapped up in the Old Tafo constituency. Ashanti Regional Chairman of the NPP, Bernard Ntwibo Siako, says the region has decided to elect Dr. Bawumia as flag bearer of the party, considering his performance as Vice President. He believes the Buzia Dankwa Dombo tradition must be upheld by ensuring Dr. Bawumia leads the party.
As we have witnessed and we have heard, it means that the people speak. And when the people are chanting, when they decide, you can't change it. The point is now that Ashanti has decided. It's about your works, the job, the things that you do will follow you. People are saying Dankwa Buzia Dombo, and people are saying Dankwa and Buzia has been served, so it's time for Dombo.
Member of Parliament for Efijase and campaign coordinator for Dr. Bawumia in the Ashanti region, Nana Ayiwa says the Vice President is in a commanding lead in the region.
So far, so very good. Your Excellency, definitely in Ashanti region, is in a commanding lead by God's grace. Yes, the people of Ashanti love him, and in the history of this country, as far as MPP is concerned, wherever Ashanti votes in presidential primaries, they vote en bloc. The superdelegates, his worst performance will be 85%. Last year I said 80%. 1 month to the election, I'm saying 85%. I know what I'm talking about. And if you see him trusting and cruising in the 90% as superdelegate for Ashanti, take it from me, it would reflect also in November 4th, God willing.
Spokesperson for Dr. Bawumia, Nana Akomia, says the support the Vice President has received from the Ashanti region is indication of victory ahead of the presidential primary.
From the enthusiasm that you've seen in Ashanti region, there's no doubt that the Vice President is clearly the front runner in this race.
For Joy News, Nana Bwachi Dankwayadom, Kumasi.
Now, imagine living in a house you can only access with the help of a ladder. That is the situation of a 25-year-old young man, Nana Iyao, wisdom is shen, but his situation only mirrors what residents of New Botiano have to endure as a result of flooding. Hanging homes caused by torrential rains, children killed by floods, and bad roads are just some of the troubles the residents continue to endure anytime it rains. Maxwell Agbaba has more in our latest Floods of Trauma series.
It is March 2023. Flood water has forced the collapse of a building here at New Botiano. 2 children, 9 and 11 years, were swept away. They died. Their mother, Nanama, sits on the floor inconsolable. After the collapse of the building, Nanama relocated from New Botiano. She never wanted to have anything to do with this community again.
Oh, you're from Ransford.
Ransford, yeah.
Ransford Ebenezer.
I've met 18-year-old Ransford Ebenezer Chum. The 2 children were his friends. He says he was traumatized for days.
No, we are three. Penini Ketwa.
There were 3 siblings. The little one was rescued, but the 2 of them died. Their parents have not relocated. The flood water first caused the collapse of their building. The water swept away one of them, and the other one tried to rescue her, but the 2 died. They were swept away by the flood.
Not too far from Nanam's house is another house which is virtually hanging. Residents here tell me that a pregnant woman used to live in this house, and she also used the ladder anytime she wants to get access to her home or step out to go to town. Nana Kwame and Alex have been living here for the past 2 years. This is how they do it all the time. It's always a risky journey to get to their home, and they tell me that it's terrifying when it starts raining, and they always have to wait for the rain to subside before they come out. Okay. How long have you been staying here?
I'm staying for 2 years.
Met the man who lives here, Nanaya Ishen. He says the only way to access his residence is with the help of a ladder which sits about 10 feet deep into the belly of the earth. And massive erosion caused by continuous flooding in the New Botiano community has left roads impassable and structures on the verge of collapse. Nanayo Wisdom Eshen moved into the hanging house with his brother Alex Nana Benyin. The owner was forced by the situation to relocate with his family. Nanayo says he has had many near-death experiences living in the house, but says he does not have the means to rent another place.
It's very, very dangerous. When the rain is falling, hard one or heavy one, and you come and stand here, even here, you listen, the flow, because there's very huge rain passes through here, so it's very, very dangerous.
Yeah. So why don't you move out of this place? Or you don't have any other place?
No, I don't have any other place. I'm young to rent a house or do something else, so here is the choice I want to. Without the ladder, I won't come out. I can't come out.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if someone comes to remove the ladder one day?
Then I will stay here till when I get a new ladder.
Nanayo's brother, Alex Nana Benyin, says the flood is not only destroying their building, it is also destroying properties, roads, and claiming lives.
But no choice.
We are scared anytime it rains, but we have no option. Anytime it rains, you will hear the earth trembling and shaking. They shouldn't wait until any catastrophe strikes before they decide to take action.
Well, welcome back to the showbiz segment, and Becky Beggs, the lovely young lady loved by many, thousands, millions, is here.
Try another introduction.
Oh, by why?
Say the best rapper.
Okay.
Oh no, you know that I'm now a musician.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, after my visit to Kofi Kinata, I've changed my mind. You can call me the musician. Yeah, let's.
But you can't even beat Big Mama. You remember that Big Mama? Is it Big Mama?
Yeah, forget about it. Forget about it. But Grace, let's talk about Sarkodie. Sarkodie, you know his song, his response to Yvonne Nelson's book, I Am Not Yvonne Nelson, Try Me. We were hoping that we will have an exclusive interview with him, and probably ask him why he had to release a song and what inspired that particular song. But you know that he's on tour in the U.S., specifically New York, and he's been having conversations about this particular song, Angela Yee, on Way Up. Sarkodie had a conversation with her, and he's been explaining exclusively. Angela Yee got the exclusive, and Brace, we're here. Let's talk about, let's move away from, do you have something to say?
No, when he comes, we're going to do exclusive, because
Ghana
exclusive.
Yeah, it's Sarkodie. Really, you have to talk to him, please.
He has to talk to Becky.
You know, like answer all these questions. But I mean, we enjoy that from. He opened up a lot. Everybody was. She asked all the questions. Yeah. And I hope that all the answers have been all the questions and has been answered. And so that's it. Yeah. We wish you all the best in your tour. But let's talk about Black Sherif. You know that Black Sherif. We've been going back and forth with his arrest at the Kotoka International Airport. We've given you the backstory about how he had a deal with cruise people, and apparently he sort of deviated from one of. But we had the exclusive interview with the CEO of the cruise people, and here is the side of the story.
The police will just not wake up and arrest Black Sherif on a baseless or flimsy excuse from us. We submitted everything. So based on that, the police secured an arrest warrant. So it was either when he's leaving or he's coming. And so immigration stopped him, handed him over to the police. The police got him to the police station, gave him the opportunity to listen to the complaint, and then the caution statements were read out to him, and he wrote his statement. Based on that, he was granted a bail.
What's next from here?
For us or for him?
For the case.
Oh, well, for the case, it's simple. We have a civil suit pending. We will submit the details of that to, actually he'll be served, you know, and he would look through it and make a response. And if he wants to make ends meet by cutting a deal, we'll get there. If not, then we want to pursue this to this logical conclusion, because you see, the way we were treated, it's not fair. It's unthinkable. And we don't want the general public to conceive us as trying to, you know, put a stop on his career or like impede his progress. And we waited 2 months trying to use all kind of means, especially human resources available to us, to actually find a lasting solution to this. That didn't happen, and we're here now. The police have invited us. We're both meeting at the police headquarters at 2 p.m.
All right.
And so when we get there, his legal team, my legal team will be there. We would go through the issues, and I'm sure they don't want this to continue. Neither do I want this to continue. So we should have a handshake, we get paid, and that's it.
So you want your money, just that?
We want our money, and not only the money we paid, of course. I mean, I'm telling you that we paid multimedia to have an out-of-station broadcast here to promote the event, okay? We have released a press statement this afternoon. In there, we stated our one.
So the event is not coming off?
How is the event coming on? How is Afro Cruise Jam going to come on? How is it going to come on? He's totally derailed all the process. How can we do this? If we take Black Sheriff's word as it is now, or your word that he would show up at the event, how sure are we that on that day, even 10 seconds video, he could not do it? How sure are we that on that day Black Sheriff will be in Greece?
Well, the conversation continues on our social media platforms. Also, you can log on to adjournonline.com for more news. That'll be all for the show this evening. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay.